For a long time, global power followed a simple pattern. The countries that controlled money controlled the world. After World War II, that control became very clear. The United States and its allies rebuilt the global system. They created institutions, they set the rules, and over time, they enforced them. This group came to be known as the G7. The United States, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Italy, Canada, and Japan. Together, they dominated global finance, technology, military strength, and diplomacy. The US dollar became the world's main currency. Most global trade passed through Western banks, and major global decisions flowed through Western institutions. For decades, this system worked. It brought stability, it boosted growth, and it benefited those who were already powerful. But the world didn't stay the same. Economies grew outside the West. Populations shifted, and new centers of influence began to emerge. Slowly at first, then more clearly. That's where BRICS enters the picture. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, countries that were once called developing. Countries expected to follow the rules, not shape them. Today, BRICS countries together account for more than 40% of the world's population, and nearly 1/3 of global economic output when adjusted for purchasing power. That alone gets attention, but geopolitics is not just about size. It's about leverage. Who controls trade? Who controls money? Who controls resources? And who gets to decide what is normal? The G7 still holds enormous power. It leads global financial institutions like the IMF and World Bank. It dominates advanced technology, and it commands unmatched military strength. On paper, the balance still favors the G7, but power doesn't usually collapse in one moment. It fades, and that slow fading is what many BRICS countries have started responding to. The biggest concern is money. The US dollar sits at the center of global trade. Oil is priced in dollars. International payments are settled in dollars. Most countries store their reserves in dollars. This gives the United States a powerful advantage. If a country challenges the system, it can be sanctioned. Its assets can be frozen. Its access to global finance can be restricted. We've seen this with Iran, with Venezuela, and most recently, with Russia. When Russia's foreign reserves were frozen after the Ukraine war, many countries took note. Not because they supported Russia, but because they understood the risk. If it could happen to Russia, it could happen to them too. That moment quietly changed the conversation, especially among BRICS nations. After that, BRICS began pushing harder for something called de-dollarization. This doesn't mean replacing the dollar overnight. That's not realistic. What it means is reducing dependence, using local currencies for trade, building alternative payment systems, and strengthening institutions outside Western control, like the new development bank. China now conducts trade with several countries using the yuan. India has settled some oil transactions in rupees. Russia has moved much of its trade outside Western financial networks. These changes don't make headlines every day, but they matter, because history often changes quietly. Now look at resources. Most G7 countries are wealthy, but resource limited. BRICS countries are different. Russia is a major energy supplier. Brazil is a global food powerhouse. China dominates manufacturing and rare earth minerals. India offers skilled labor at massive scale. South Africa holds important mineral resources. In a world facing supply chain disruptions, energy uncertainty, and climate stress, these resources carry real weight. That's one reason many countries in Africa, Asia, and Latin America are moving closer to BRICS. Not out of loyalty, but for balance. BRICS offers an alternative route, a second option in a world that was once one-sided. This is also why more countries want to join BRICS. Energy producers, sanction-exposed economies, countries looking for flexibility. But BRICS is not a perfect alliance. Its members don't always agree. China and India have unresolved border tensions. Brazil and Russia have very different global priorities. There is no single ideology holding them together. What unites BRICS is not vision. It's experience, the shared experience of depending on systems they do not control. In military terms, the G7 still leads. The United States alone spends more on defense than most countries combined. NATO remains the most powerful military alliance in the world. BRICS has no comparable military structure. And that matters, because influence without enforcement has limits. So is global power shifting? Yes, but not suddenly, not dramatically. It's shifting slowly, through trade decisions, through currency choices, through access to resources, through diplomatic flexibility. The world is moving away from a single center of power toward a multipolar system. The G7 is not disappearing, but it is no longer the only voice. And years from now, when people look back, they may realize this was the moment the world began to rebalance. Not loudly, but permanently.